Tonight on Up to Speed with Trip Simpson, are traditional conservatives reading the room correctly? Also, we're going to discuss the apparent rift in the right wing. We have a special guest, Black Guns Matter founder, Maj Tate, will also be here to discuss all that. So, we got quite the interesting show. We'll see you right after the intro.
The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
All right, welcome back to episode number 115 of Up to Speed with Trip Simpson. I am your host, Trip Simpson, in the building.
The first of his name, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm.
And before we get this live stream started, first and foremost, you know, good and well, we got to handle business. Let's get it.
Family moving up in the business. I know you're going to look after family.
What family you talking about, Ice?
Fuck, I look invisible, nigga.
That's right. I am not invisible. So do me a favor. If you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. If you're watching live on Twitter and on Facebook and on Instagram, hit that like button, hit that share button. Also, don't forget to comment in the live chat below to help this video gain more traction in the algorithm. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our special guest, Mr. Maj Tate. Let's get it.
Yo, what's up, bro? How you?
Chilling, man. How's everything?
Everything's wonderful. I'm trapped in the RV, week 3, fundraising. Trying to buy our Solutionary Center, pushing. Leaving once a week, getting to the laundry and the groceries, and coming back and cooking it and just dialing in, man. Meanwhile, at the same time, I'm also like trying to study and start learning welding. So I'm gonna do something productive with this time, but I'm happy that you invite me on and happy to chop it up tonight.
That's a fact. And also, we have the link to the Give, Send, Go pinned to the top of the chat. So anybody that wants to give and get this man about the RV, we encourage you to do so. The link, the Give, Send, Go link is pinned to the top of the chat. Now, all right, before we get into serious topics, I got this one video I want to show you. I want to get your opinion on this.
Yeah.
This is of our favorite zesty liberal, Mr.
Not Roland Martin.
Roland Martin. Hold on, give me a second. Let me get this up. All right.
Yo.
Check this video out.
White people really crack me up. So, y'all see what I got on. So, when I travel, like vacation and stuff, or time off, man, listen, I ain't trying to pack a whole bunch of shit, so I color code. So, everything in my bag is Texas A&M. So, sometimes it might be all Astros, all Rockets, all Texans, all Alpha. So, I'm walking. White dude says, "You a fan or did you play?" I knew exactly what he was talking about. I said, "Excuse me?" He goes, "Oh," he said, "what you have on? Are you a fan or did you play?" Now, mind y'all, I got on Aggie shorts, maroon shoes, okay? Because I keep it simple when I pack. All I said was, "No, I'm a graduate." And I walked off. That's the shit black people have to deal with if we go to PWIs.
Bro. let you go first, man.
All right, so first and foremost, all right, Roland is soft as. Listen, Roland has me blocked on X. I've done Roland's show. And when I did a show, he in essence argued that me arming people to defend themselves against criminals and corrupt portions of law enforcement, somehow that doesn't empower our community. He did that. He like Roland's lunch meat and Roland's soft as the day is long.
Facts.
This actually starts to come off more so than just soft. This is like a little zesty. Like, first of all, he's talking about he keeps it simple. Wearing a bunch of clothes and color coordinated and walking around monochromatic, one color from head to toe, is not keeping it simple. Wearing everything with the same logo, that screams look at me. But nonetheless,
It does.
this argument that the dude just asked him, like, yo, bro, did you play? Because it looks like he has on, like, he repping for a team. It's so much logo of the same team. Did you play? You built like a you used to be a linebacker back in the day. Did you play? Or are you the fan? Then to insinuate that means like that he's implying there's no way that you could be a graduate, as opposed to not, because if he would have said, oh, are you just it doesn't matter what the dude would have said. He was making genuine conversation. And Roland Martin, if it even happened, because it could not have even happened. Roland Martin could have just made this shit up.
I doubt it happened.
Right. And so he's like, oh, I knew what he meant. And I said, oh, no, excuse me, I'm a graduate. Listen, bro, nobody cares, bro. Nobody cares. I promise you. And this might sound messed up to some people, right? Generally, your average white person walking down the street, and if they engage in you, they're not thinking about, how can I oppress this person right now? If you got on a bunch of fucking gear that has the actual team on it, and that might be his team or something like that, maybe that's what the talking point is about. I just think that dude, what I will say that I respect about Roland is he at least doing stuff on his own platform. That's a good thing. I like that he's doing that. But like what he's talking about in the platform, who he's telling people to follow, it's just based on they're black, not based on these policies are actually going to help black people. And so like he's just one of them dudes that come off real soft. Like he got like a punchable face. Like he just looks like somebody I just want to smack. And I'm not advocating that. I'm not saying I'm not telling anybody to do that. I'm just saying he just has a very punchable face. He looks like somebody you would want to bully. And this like fake tough guy stuff that he's talking about, when Main Man ran down on him at one of them events or at the church or something, for talking reckless, huh?
So he wasn't talking any of that then when Holmes ran up.
Yeah, it's like you had the Scooby-Doo face. Like, stop tough talk, bro. You ain't about that life. You ain't about action. You ain't really good for black people. It's like he's literally the stereotype or the caricature of when you say somebody like trying to be as opposed to just existing. And that's what he reminds me of. And it's just a horrible, like he recorded that. He recorded that and uploaded it as if it was the flex. And I at this point, I don't know if people like Roland Martin actually believe the stuff that they're saying, or they know it's so wild and kooky and like goofball that they know that people are going to talk about it. So I don't know which one it is, but both of them is super cringe to me.
Yeah, I think the thing that bothers me about this whole thing he did, right? It lessens the claims of people who may actually be going through a racist event, right? And it just, I mean, you remember that guy Scott Adams, right? The creator of Dilbert.
Yeah.
He did a video, and I agree with him. A lot of people thought I was crazy for agreeing with him, but he did a video a couple years ago, basically like because he read some Rasmussen poll where it was basically a bunch of black people said they don't like white people and all this and all that. So he was like, well, what the hell? As a white person, shouldn't I just go live away from black people if this is the case? And it's like shit like this justifies kind of what he's saying, because you can't even give the man a compliment. I wish a motherfucker would think I played for a football team. I'd be flattered.
Right.
But you can't even say no shit like that or it gives off the perception that you can't say stuff like that to black men, or they're going to have a hissy fit and think you're a racist. Like,
that's the wild part. That's the wild part, because I'm just like, bro, he was actually like, look. I remember one time when I first bought this RV. I had never driven an RV before. I bought the RV. I drove to Atlanta to learn. I set up for like the first Solutionary Summit. I went on like this tour. I went, and I remember driving, and we were in, I think I was in Minnesota or something, and it was getting cold, but we didn't have water in the actual RV. And so the dude was like, he said, I said, yo, where can we get water? I didn't even know how to do water in the joint. And so this guy was like, well, we stopped. He was like, yo, there's a campground like not too far. And I said, all right. We go to the campground. We see two people, and I'm like, hey, we're trying to get water. And he was like, well, the campsite manager is over there. I drive over to the campsite manager, and he looks like the stereotypical. He got on like the overalls. He looks like, oh, he about to have a problem. We driving in this, this RV. He gonna have an issue. Boom. Man, he was white. He had the overall. He just looked like what television tries to make think, the white races look like. Similar to television will say the black earth dude's definitely going to try to rob you. Like, they got those television stereotypes. I drive and I let it hit my brain. I was like, oh, he about to be on some BS. I said, listen, we don't have water, I'm trying to get to da 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 da. He said, listen, our water thing is down for the winter because we in the cold season, because it's like Minnesota or something like that. And he said, but you know what? Pull up to mine, because it's a campground. Pull up to my spot down at the end. And not only did he give me his own water, he showed me how to do it. And I just thought to myself, like, damn, man, if I would have spoke too soon, main man who has generally tried to help me wouldn't have helped me. And I just checked myself in my head internally, was like, you doing the thing to him that you don't like when, it's late at night or 9 o'clock at night, the person crossed the street just because they see you with the tattoos or whatever. You just did the same thing to him. And if the standard is the standard, you're supposed to maintain the standard regardless. And so that, to your point, is the same thing. You'll make somebody feel like, I can't even compliment dudes. And again, you can, but the thought process is there. Like, I don't want, because generally people don't want to offend other people. So I don't know if I could say X, Y, and Z because I don't want this person to feel offended. And I'm not trying to be offensive. And I think you're right. He does do that. And again, I don't even think this happened. I don't even think this happened. I think he just saying it happened and he wanted to show off his outfit like a girl. That's kind of like what it feel like to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's screaming fake news for sure. But
yeah,
okay, let's just even say this, right? Let's just say this random white guy was trying to be a dick. Did it really hurt your feelings that bad, bro? Like, come on, man. Like, like, they just make us look so soft. Like, you can't even.
Right. if me asking you, hey, did you play at a D1 school because you look like a football player and an athlete? If somehow that offends you and makes you upset, like, you got bigger issues, bro. Like, oh my God.
Bro,
this dude,
he would never last in the firehouse because, it's out of control there. Like, there's no cut cards.
Right.
He would never last, man.
Right.
He would never last.
I don't know what is Roland Martin's contribution to the black community in reality. Like, okay, like, right, like, there's some people that I don't vibe with now. Like, okay, so let's talk about, let's say Larry Elder, right? I don't really rock with Larry Elder now. I don't think he's added benefit, but at a certain point, he was one of the very early black folks that hollered about libertarianism and then conservatism, right? He was very early in the game. So I can say, all right, he opened up a door on certain levels, right? I don't know what Roland Martin's contribution has been. I don't know. Did he what doors did he open? What did he break? What stories did he break? I just know that he showed up. And I'm not saying that he didn't. I just don't know what they are. You know what I mean?
The only credit I'll give Roland Martin is that he has hired people in the DC area and introduced people into the broad. I know some people that have worked for him, or you know what I mean. So I mean, I don't want to be all negative about Roland. Shout out to Roland; he hires people.
Yeah.
But
I can see that. If he created some jobs, I'll give him some room. I just think he's so soft and like.
Yeah, I mean, I can't stand him.
Yeah, I just want to like his face, and he one of them people that they'll be in hiding kind of. They'll act like they outside all the time because like they'll shoot a video like this, and they'll be looking like they're going from one place to another, and they'll talk that tough guy stuff. Like I remember. No, I remember this. He said he like checked Khalid Muhammad back in the day.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, come on, bro. Like, no, you didn't, champ.
Hold on. He said, hold on. He said he checked. Where my clip at? He said he checked Khalid Muhammad.
Now I told your ass, if you want something slow and green, you better get you a turtle, ho.
Come on, man.
He said that, and I was like, if you don't stop, cut it out. Listen, none of us believe you, but it's a funny joke, so we'll let it ride. But nobody believes that you check Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Like nobody believes that.
Yeah, that's a wild nigga there. That's a wild nigga there. All right, let's get to the main topic. So let me ask you this: in your opinion, what is the main reason behind the perceived rift with conservatives right now? And when I say rift, I mean the clear ideological lines that are clearly being drawn between folks like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Andrew Tate, Joe Rogan, the Hodge twins, Myron Gaines, Jason Shields, Dan Barzino, Mark Dice, Royce White, and even to a certain degree, Jason Whitlock, okay?
Yeah.
Against your typical traditional conservatives like Ron DeSantis, Megyn Kelly, and my least favorite of all, Ben, aka Little Benny the Rat Shapiro, and others who take more of a neocon or neocon adjacent approach to conservatism.
That's the problem. They out of touch with the thing. They doing the neocon warmongering thing in the new age of conservative that is, to be honest, man, all of the people named, they're more in alignment with following libertarian ideology. Libertarians is who got Donald Trump into office. Trump came to the Libertarian National Convention in DC last year. Trump asked the libertarians to help him. Trump freed Ross Ulbright. Trump was, Angela McArdle, who was then the chair of the Libertarian Party, pulled off something. All of the younger conservatives have been exposed. If they listen to me, I've done Candace Owens' show, right? She was exposed to libertarian ideas. She's had comic Dave Smith on, who's a libertarian, right? All of the people that Dave's, that's the homie. Like all of these people,
I meant to name him. I definitely
like these are people that understand that libertarian values and conservative values, at least on limited government and allowing people to do what they choose. Those people recognize it as much more hip and cool and more in alignment with the framework of America. A lot of those old neocons, they fit in the religious and cultural Christian Judeo conservative bubble, which is cool, and I'm not. But when you're talking to young people that ain't seen the inside of a church in however many years, you got to bring them something else. And so it doesn't mean that you denounce your own faith or don't, deal with it. It just means that it's more about liberty. It's more about live and let live. The founders of America, some of them were what's known as deists. Because, you'll hear those people in the neocon side, say things like, America's a Christian nation. No, it's not. No, it's not. It was designed so America could be a Christian nation. And a lot of those dudes came from other places, and they were fighting for religious freedom against religious tyranny from King George over there in Great Britain. So saying this to say, the framework was designed where people could be what they want to be. And now you're seeing young people that have access to phones and technology and social media apps. They're being what they want to be. The neocon that could almost gatekeep conservatism, that ideology somewhat got crushed. That approach got crushed when libertarians started speaking more to conservatives. And I'll pat myself on the back for that. I went and spoke at CPAC for years, telling them all types of black shit. The last time that I was on that stage, the main stage, I was on by myself. I was on there right before Trump. Literally, it was me, then Trump. And so,
can you hit the the refresh button on your joint? You breaking up a whole lot.
Let me see. How do I do that?
I mean, at least on my end, I'm not sure. I mean, if he's coming in, if he's coming in good on you guys' end, that's fine. You're breaking up a lot on my end, but hit the number one.
How do I hit the refresh button?
Are you on the desktop?
No, I'm on a phone.
Oh, what do you have it open in? The StreamYard app?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's good now. Actually, it's good now. You're clear now, but yeah, you were chopping up.
Turn some of the other. Matter of fact, turn some of these other Wi-Fi's off too, because I got 5 damn Wi-Fi's running. I just think that you can hear me now.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. They got exposed to libertarianism. They're younger, they fresher, they hipper, and they more about freedom. They're not about warmongering. If you listen to any type of libertarian, libertarians have always been like, yo, we don't want endless wars. We should have been out of Yemen. We should have never been there. We shouldn't be in Syria. 3 weeks ago, last month, 3 times the United States government bombed Somalia. That ain't make the news, right? We are on the like antiwar.com type vibe. And so when you get exposed to that information and you see that it's some of the older neocons are just like kind of like run of the mill, you start to kind of go like, nah, I'm not really with that. And so you become more open to more dialogue and more conversation. So for example, you mentioned the Hodge twins. They just had, shouts to the Hodge twins. I'm supposed to do their podcast. I got to do it after I get trapped out of the RV and we hit the goal. But they just had the chick on that slept with like 1,000 people.
Yeah, Lily something.
Whatever her name is.
It's Lily something.
Lily something. And so these are conversations that sometimes more religious conservatives, if they lead with the religion, they don't even want to have that conversation with that person. A more liberty understanding conservative goes, I can have a conversation with a person, get their perspective, listen to it, and completely disagree with it. And so we're seeing some people on the left do that. Before we talk about Candace Owens, she was on a Joe Budden podcast. Joe Budden got pushback. But when you're about freedom and liberty, I can have that conversation with anybody and hear their perspective without it turning into this thing where, oh, I hate them forever. And so that's really the difference. And those people that you named aren't really well versed in doing that. And they're going to go to age of the dinosaur because we're in the information age and we're in a dialogue and communication age. So that's one of the major differences that I see between those groups. And I do think it's causing a rift.
And I would say in part with libertarianism, those people, the younger people, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, all of them, they're a big reason why Trump was elected also. If it wasn't for the podcast run that he went on, he probably wouldn't have got elected.
Nah, that one of the stupidest moves that Kamala Harris made was not doing Joe Rogan's podcast.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, she would have if she would have prepped like they prepped her for that debate, she would have at least been somewhat decent. But you don't ignore someone that has 30 million viewers.
It's
Like,
crazy.
it becomes like, why? What do you? This tells me that you don't have faith. I could go on a Joe Rogan podcast and murder it. I can go on any podcast and murder it. I don't care what question you ask me because I'm good at communication. That was her weak point, and you can't be the leader of the free world and not be good at communication. And so, the fear factor that it looked like for the general public, she didn't go on. Trump went on, and what he showed me, because I was even like, is he gonna be able to do a 3-hour podcast? What he showed me in that
He can talk
podcast,
forever.
right? Yeah, because I've had engagement that he was at, and he regular just freestyled the hour, right? And so I was concerned initially. I thought it would be a couple of cool moments, but what I learned was dude is actually well versed nominally in a lot of different areas. He was talking about fighting, he was talking about this, he was talking about that, the hydrochloroquine, this, that, and the third. And so I just think that they're out of touch for the same reason that I initially struggled with when my girl was trying to show me Apple Pay with my phone. And I'm like, yo, just swipe the card or just tap the card. Why do I have to do this thing in the phone? And then until I got it. And then when I got it, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
this
this
is
is
way better. Like,
way
and I
better.
very rarely even use my card anymore. You know what I mean?
Facts.
He just they're out of touch. They're out of touch, and they don't respect free speech and free choice as much as they pretend to. They respect it as it's related to in opposition to the left, not in carving their own destiny for themselves and what liberty and limited government actually means.
No, and that's a fact, man. I will say this. One of the main things that I notice, and we don't have to delve into this too far right now, but it's up to you. I remember watching the whole Zelensky debacle, right?
Yeah.
From last week,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And everybody was praising Trump. And I give Trump a lot of props for doing what he had to do. But it's like, I don't understand how you have the same, I don't understand how you can logically look at the Zelensky situation and not look at Netanyahu even worse. I don't understand. I can't fathom how, I just don't get it. Well, I mean, I
do.
get it. Hey, look. I get it.
I'm not going to say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media went to. We know I can't say that.
But it's crazy to me, bro. Hey, look, would you do that like that for the rest of the day?
Right. Like, it's a obvious thing, and I think some of those younger or fresher voices in the conservative space are willing to just say it. Like, so for example, Trump got $230 million from AIPAC for this presidential run. $230 million. That's a lot. That's a lot of yarmulkes. It's just what it is.
Facts.
And so, listen, and don't get me wrong. I love the fact that the Israeli government and the political class and the Jewish community is galvanizing. I love it. I love the fact that they go, don't say the wrong shit about us. Don't play with us. We will impact your bank accounts. We will impact your jobs. I love that they do that. We are in America. America's, listen, outside of the Constitution, land of free, all of that type of vibe, those symbols and symbolic gestures and sayings, America as a political machine is very, very cutthroat. And it's a gangster place. And I like gangsters. And the Jewish lobby and the Israeli government and the political class in America and internationally, I love that they that gangster. I think more people should emulate it. Let's stop pretending like it's not a case. Let's not act like Jewish people don't have a hand in the entertainment, a big hand in the entertainment. Hollywood, if you like it, play like the Wolves play. 50 Cent down in Louisiana building a movie studio. I love it. I want 50. I love the fact that it wasn't beef between him and Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry gave him some game and said, go do this. Build it in Louisiana where the land cheap. I love the fact that Tyler Perry bought a Confederate army base in Atlanta and turned it into a movie studio, and he's hiring people. Listen, step your game up. Step your game up. I want to don't say the wrong thing to us. Make sure you drop that bread off with us. In every community that does Chinese American, Korean American, Italian American, American, European American, insert whatever group, you better be a gangster too. So I'm not mad at them. I don't think I don't want to pretend like that's not the case, because I'm not, and it's obvious. But at the same time, I'm also not going to act like it's something that we shouldn't be, politics is by definition securing, maintaining, and expanding on your own interests. I wouldn't have to be struggling so hard in the RV to fundraise if the Second Amendment community was gangster like that. If the Second Amendment community was like, Maj has been one of our strongest voices. Maj got Black Guns Matter in the Supreme Court Bruin decision. Maj made black people all across America be the newest, largest gun buying demographic, and he did that shit with pennies. Go ahead with $10 million and see what he could do. If the Second Amendment community was gangster, we wouldn't even be in the space that we in right now. We need to all emulate that. I know some people don't like that, but I don't believe this theory that, like, now again, I'm not saying that every single thing that's done is okay. Let me be clear. I disagree with the Israeli government as it relates to what's happening with the death in Palestine. I disagree with that. I also disagree with how the United States government handles, again, last month, the United States government bombed Somalia 3 times, and ain't nobody heard about it on the news. Everybody should be going over to antiwar.com. Shouts to Scott Horton. Shouts to the team over all of that, right? My point in saying this is,
what did they bomb Somalia?
I'm not agreeing with this. They trying to create that. They've been over in Somalia messing with things since the Obama era. Yeah, same thing again. Same thing with Syria. Same thing with Yemen.
Since Black Hawk Down, I guess.
Since Clinton. So you talking about arguments about resources, minerals, all of this type of stuff. Even the Ukraine situation, bro, we need some of that. We need some of the minerals, champ. You could pass back in minerals, right? That's the reason why China is in Africa heavy. It's not an accident that hoods all across America. Now, instead of it just being the Chinese people or Korean people in the beauty supply store, you're seeing now Africans and Asians together in the beauty supply stores. This ain't an accident. And so, saying this to say, I am not in agreement with I'm a pacifist that will harm you if you try to harm me. I'm damn near a hippie. I want food. I want people to do what they choose as long as they're not impacting nobody and their property. I don't want war. And so I disagree with the Israeli government and some of their handling of things. But when we're talking about, the folks that are galvanized after being ostracized from over 100 countries, when we're talking about people that feel as if they are the chosen people and that's their code of ethics and that's their ethos, I want to take the best parts of that and try to apply it to the communities that I'm a part of. And I just think instead of being upset at their moves, because I'm not upset at the Israeli government, I just disagree with it, right? I'm not going to be upset for Jewish folks going, yo, this the crew. Is they part of our thing? Did they come to Shabbat? Like, I'm studying Torah now, me personally. I'm not mad. They have a very communal situation. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I think we should be able to critique these scenarios. And while we're critiquing them, we come up with ways to say, what from this, the things that we do agree with, what from this can we apply to the communities that we're a part of?
I got you. I mean, I guess the question remains though, like, I think the biggest problem that people have with the whole Zionist situation is that
Mm-hmm.
the end game, in their own words, is to, have all of us in chains. But I mean,
Yeah.
now that's just what that's what the popular consensus is on the end game, and I guess they're not doing themselves any favors by going about things the way they're going about it. You know what I mean? Because
No, that part's true.
I'll say it like that. They're not doing themselves any favors by going about things the way they're going about it, because it makes it seem like all these claims that people are making are true. Like,
I can see that. I see that part. It's like Trump in the department. He's given with the guy Mahmoud Khalil, right? The organizer of the protest at university, right? Him saying go get him and deport him, and because he's saying anti-Semitic things. And after taking $230 million from AIPAC, it looks like AIPAC operated and told you, President Trump, go get him. Go do this. It looks like you in the pocket of the people that gave you damn near $250 million. So to your point, it doesn't look like they operating on a level playing field. My argument is America's never been a level playing field. It's always going to be the in human history. Right now, I agree that I don't know if I would say that the vast majority of our Hebrew brothers and sisters are like, we want everybody in chains.
No.
On a higher level,
there's a difference between a Jewish person and a Zionist.
I see what you mean.
Difference.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Like there's a huge difference. I know I have a lot of Jewish friends. Like I sound like a typical. I got black friends.
I got black friends.
I mean, I know a lot of good people. Like this is not a condemnation of Jewish people. Like that would be insane. Like that's like, because I criticize a country, I'm not talking about the whole race. Like if I criticize Nigeria, I'm not saying fuck Africa or all black people. I'm talking about Nigeria.
Right.
They own some bullshit.
Right.
So I just think the fact that when someone has the slightest criticism for an obvious deplorable act that the country has done, and the fact that all these people are coming off the woodworks and they're trying to get laws passed in Congress to say that you can't criticize Israel. That's when I'm like, okay, what is this?
That I agree with that, because it starts to become like, you guys are not doing the way right to prove. Like, you can't do secret society shit like get Kanye West's bank account frozen because Kanye says, hey, these guys are running the entertainment and banking industry, and then y'all debank him. That's not helping the cause. It's like going, there is no Illuminati, and then going, hey guys, give me the Illuminati cell phone. It becomes like a thing where it's like you're proving the point. I do think that Zionist is defined as a person that thinks that Jewish folks should have their own homeland, right? And Israel should be their homeland. Now, when we look at this factually, with the Rothschilds and Israel being carved up at a certain point in time and given to certain people and all of that, that conversation is a legitimate conversation to have. And if you pushing back against history and making it also like on some revisionist history, we just can't do that. For me, though, my brain always just goes to, I take from people the things that they say is not for me, right? So BGM, everybody was like, well, the Second Amendment, they didn't mean that for you. I don't care who they meant it for. It's mine now.
I hate when people say stuff like that too. Like, it's just because it deflects from the argument. Like, we're talking about what's set in stone, and then you want to take me down another fucking rabbit hole. Like, nah, bro. Per the 14th Amendment, this shit's for me.
Right. And so, to me, my mentality is the same way when I see people. Like, I like gangsters. Now, really, I understand that Zionists might be offended by this because I'm comparing Zionists to gangsters. But I like gangster shit. I like going, if it's a nickel bag sold around here, it's mine now. Like without taking, and I mean that mentality of I'm gonna get it, and me and my crew gonna eat, right? I'm not upset at Trump saying they my crew now too because they gave me damn near $250 million. I just see the play and be like, how can I play like the Wolves play to strengthen the parts of the game that I'm in, right? Now that's a separate conversation from, yo, you guys or the Israeli government, and I know people that live in Jerusalem that are like, hey, we're Jewish.
You
We
got a lot of
live in
people
Israel.
that don't agree. They don't agree with that shit at
That
all.
don't agree. That are like, absolutely not. But when you recognize that like Israel's damn near a police state, when they have, you know that they have gun checkpoints in certain parts and this, that, and the third, it's like, oh, okay, so low key, the Americans are that disagree with bombing countries and X, Y, and Z. If you're not a part of the political class, you don't agree with it either. So you can create that distinction. And that's why I do a good job of saying, listen, I am studying Torah right now. I have thoughts and gave considerable thought to converting to Judaism. This is not me being funny. This is me for close to a year now. This is not me.
You didn't read the Talmud. That's the one, the Talmud.
So look, the Torah, like the actual ones, like and I'm not saying that to be offensive to the ones here in America, but like my practicing, like Orthodox Jewish friends is Torah all day. The Torah Tanakh, the da 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 da, all of that. My point in saying that is, I find so many things that are beautiful about faiths in general. My Muslim friends, when like my practicing Muslim friends, I'm like, man, my homie prays 5 times a day without hesitation. My point is, those folks are like, I don't like what those folks over there did. There is a nuance that I think that some of the conservatives on the right are leaving out of the conversation because it's good for clickbait. That's the part. There's like right now, you'd be hard pressed if you happen to be Jewish right now. This conversation that we having right now, you'd be hard pressed to feel offended by some of the things that we're saying. We've clarified, our Jewish and Hebrew friends. We've clarified, hey, we're talking about the Israeli government because we know that some of y'all are damn, for lack of a better term, damn near hostage to their choices because you're not a part of the political elite. So you'd be hard pressed to actually try to box us in, or this conversation is as anti-Semitic. But I think some of the people on the right, that when you start to know that damn near every politician in DC has an AIPAC guy except for Thomas Massey.
Thomas Massey. And I don't think Matt, I got a hint that I don't think Matt Gaetz did, but I think that's why he dropped out, because they were going to cook.
And that's why they got him out. And now all of a sudden Trump is going after Thomas Massey. So if it just looks like there's more of a conspiratorial nature to this than what it seems. And again, to your point, y'all guys aren't making it easier for us to dismiss the conspiracy claims because of the fact of what you guys do. But I just think that there's 2 ways to look at this. And I think it behooves us to communicate this from a more robust perspective. Because if you get offended to a robust conversation when somebody has communicated fully, then you're just going out of your way. But I think that some of our right-leaning conservative pundits, political commentators and pundits, they 1000% know that the Israeli government and AIPAC is doing things that should not be done. So they say that, but they get the clickbait because a lot of their base is very biased and bigoted. And those people devolve into, it's all the Jews, it's that. And it's like, they go out of their way because the clicks, the attention, and all that other good stuff happens. Like for me to blame all of my ills politically on AIPAC, and AIPAC is heavily entrenched into DC politics. If anyone doesn't want to acknowledge that, you're just lying to yourself, and you ain't lying to us because we already know the truth. However, for me to not go,
I've got
Right.
the whole list of everybody. Like it's
You see what I'm
crazy.
saying? So it becomes like, okay, that part's true. Then we go, what has the American public and what have we allowed for so long that this was even able to happen? That does not take the blame off of that foreign lobby, because that's what they are. That also makes us go, what can we do right now to make sure that we can peel back the onion on this? Because it actually, that onion should have stopped growing, and the peeling of it should have happened in the 60s when JFK Sr. said, hey, this organization, because it wasn't called AIPAC at that time, these are registered as a foreign lobby. And when he kept pressing for that, then he got his noodle blown off. We should have stopped as a country and said, hold on, wait 1 second. But what we kept doing was we kept taking money. We kept being critical of the people that were criticizing them politically and robustly. Thomas Massey has not said one thing negative about AIPAC. He just said, this is how it is. And I don't want an AIPAC guy. And he got a sign on his front door of his office that says, no foreign lobbying allowed. It's against the law, right? Type vibe. And so we as the American people have allowed this. It's like getting fat. This happened over time. So I'm personally not going to be too mad at the wolf for being wolves when we supposed to be lions. Wolves don't show up around the lions. And now because we sheep and we all soft and they've done what their definition of of politics is, now it becomes like we need to take some of that from them. We need to apply that. And then some of that starts to, dissipate. I think that the black community somewhat was doing it, but we don't turn it into political power. So we was doing it, we could say something and we'll get you canceled. The Jews could say the same thing and get you canceled. But now, can we work together to organize politically and financially and create industry? And every group of Americans should be doing that. So I get that. Disagree with their.
I'll be honest with you, bro. I'll be totally honest with you. I think we're cooked. as a black community, I think we're cooked.
Really?
I think we're cooked. I mean, I hate to think like that, but like I can't. There's no logical and rational mathematical equation that could fix the level of fucked upness that we're in.
Because I think we can fix it.
I mean, we could fix it, but the whole thing's got to come crashing down. It's got to burn down, and we've got to start from scratch. Because right now, I think you got to understand, bro, we're 6 generations in of welfare culture, to be honest with you. We're 6 generations in of not recognizing the importance of a family, right? Not only do we not recognize the importance of a family, because we don't recognize the importance of a family, we don't recognize the importance of an actual community. Like there are no solidified roles in the black. Anybody could just do anything and be anything, and the result is that we lose every time. The fact that black people have no control over the community and have no real say so is problem number 1. But then again, like I said, it's like a all the way fucked around equation, because we're 6 generations in of black men who don't have a fucking clue how to run a family.
Here's the argument against that. It's not because, all right, let me give an example first. You know how you burn the roof of your mouth like eating a hot ass cheese pizza or something, yes, and it burned the shit out your mouth, and you're like, and it leaves like a scar or like a burn. And it would heal, but you keep tonguing it so it doesn't heal as fast as it should because you keep messing with it, right? Black community has been burned, but it's not because we just didn't get it. There was and is an active play. Some would say it's the Jews, right? Some would say.
Hold on, hey, listen. You got to give me the signal.
I'm not going to say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media went to. We know I can't say that.
You got to give me the signal, bro. I
So,
got
so some people would say it's right, but when there is a concentrated effort to make sure that that scar, that burn, never heals, we can't say it's the community that's been burned's fault. It's almost like if
I
you.
agree with you to a certain degree, right?
Mhm.
But you actually can because we do the same thing over and over again.
But that's where the propaganda comes in at. You can't, okay, you do a thing. Now, this isn't to remove individual accountability. We're talking
That's
about a
what I'm talking
collective.
about. Accountability, bro. It's
Right. But when we're talking about a collective and a collective that says, or a government that also says, you have to put your child here. There can be no school choice, right? Here's the propaganda or curriculum that we're going to make available for your students in this school. Then we say, these are the foods that are going to be in your community. Then we incentivize other people from other communities to come in, and we give tax breaks for 5, 10 years to make sure that this type of food is readily available in this community. Then you go back and you say, when you did have certain communities, certain things in communities, we ran eminent domain and ran entire highways through the neighborhood that you owned. And one of the biggest indicators of generational wealth is home ownership, but we smacked that out the way, right? Then we added the things that you create. We then attempt to control, coerce, and manipulate those things. Looking at you, hip hop culture. You were talking about fighting the power. You were talking about working together. You were talking about peace and love, PM Dawn. Then they were like, we're going to put NWA in there. We're going to put this in there. We're going to subsidize, sanction this all together. There is a propaganda machine that is consistently targeted at Black communities. Now, again, this does not mean that you don't have the capability, the individual has the capability to break free from that matrix. But the fact that this matrix is even placed here and consistently still picking at that scar, when if you just left us alone, we would find our own natural homeostasis. But no, you keep doing other things. When you say 6 generations, the start of the most recent generation of that is, we want to help you, but you got to kick the man out the house. It wasn't, we want to help you guys' family until you get a certain amount together and then we going to fall back. It was, we want to help you, Black woman, we want to separate your family. So it's not just Black people decided to be like one day, like, hey, the thing that kept us alive, we're just not going to do it anymore. Families are done. There's been an active role and a consistent role, and I would contend that it's even right now, there's a role to make sure that that family is still separated.
for sure. But I think it's for different reasons other than wanting us to, specifically us, to suffer. I feel like we are pawns in an ethnic war between two groups of Europeans. That's how I feel.
That's a good way.
Because
But
even if you go back to
still,
Dr. King and the Black Panthers, right? There was always in the picture.
Yeah.
Every
Agreed.
speech Dr. King ever gave was written by someone else. The Black Panthers
Agreed.
And then they just morphed that civil rights and Black power movement shit. They said, okay, fine. Now let's influence the music. Now it's the music. But now the virus that has been causing the Black community has pretty much spread throughout America at this point. Like almost at a rate that might not even be able to be stopped.
I believe it can be stopped with a culture shift in the direction of the things that. Now, will it be painful? Absolutely. Because the like, you can alter genetics over time through habit and food and mindset. You can alter genetics that way, right? The baby like Hennessy now type vibe, right? and so I think with a massive restructuring and a propaganda, listen, God bless the dead, Neely Fuller Jr., the United Independent Compensatory Code for Victims of White Supremacy and Racism. I read that book when I was fresh out of high school. It was an amazing book. Now, again, I don't think that white is supreme. So I just use that term because people know what it means, and that was the name of the book. With the right conditioning and cultural and political and social, again, when we're going back to, they don't separate their culture, their faith, and their finances. Their politics, all of that stuff stays connected. These are the ways that we push back against that while extracting. One of the biggest things that I learned a few years ago that I thought was lovely, and we actually hosted a few of these at the Solutionary Center. When I found out that the Black community and Black families were also the largest new homeschooling group, I thought that was so amazing. And
Is
we
that
linked up with a Black homeschooling organization, and we let them use the Solutionary Center, right? My point in saying that is the restructuring has to be based on, hey, what did they do to separate the family? And what did they do to make sure that you are economically, financially, and in your faith and politics? How did they create that division? And you just reverse engineer. And when I say they, I mean a small section of the population that benefits from our confusion. They would like the Tower of Babel instead of us communicating with each other. I don't think that that's all of I don't think that that's all of white folks. I don't think that all of Black people are going to be down with the solution. But I do think that the first step is creating correct curriculums and like cultures that course correct what our incorrect actions have been, individually accountable for it, but also pointing the finger at governmental bodies, financial institutions, and things like that that added to that. And that does not mean it's only going to be white people. Looking at you, BLM, their stated purpose was to like derail or get rid of the nuclear family. So, like, again, these are outside entities that
oh
go
yeah.
in and keep picking at that scab, and it's more difficult for us to heal.
I mean, so yeah. And when interesting that you brought up BLM, because when you're talking BLM, you're talking Eric Mann. When you're talking Eric Mann, you're also talking Black Panthers.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just don't know how. It's hard to have faith in a community, right? That could sit in the last 4 years, sit up and look at everything that conspired in the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. And 50% of the population votes at 92% because they want the right to smoke their own kids. Then 78% of the other 50% just want some pussy. It's scary, man. It's scary because it's like we got real issues going on, and you guys are worried about foolishness, non-productive foolishness.
Motherfuckers is worried about the white boy asking him what team did he play, right, or did he whatever. We 37 trillion in debt as a nation, right? And I do see how that looks like. It's George Washington, like what the fuck, dude, right? I just think that when I look not so long ago, when I look at the acreage that's available in certain parts of the South, when I look at the millions of acres of land that is for sale in America in warm with areas with good soil, when I look at this new homesteading and homeschooling thing that a lot of people are going into, I think once we extract somewhat from the cities, especially with Wi-Fi, we can create jobs and we can work from remote and whatever. Or even if we are in the cities, we start sectioning some of those resources off and start becoming more independent and getting back to that cultural component. I think that's what's necessary to kind of course correct. I do think that a big chunk of Americans just ain't gonna make it. I don't think a big chunk of Americans are gonna make it as robotics and AI are influencing, like people talking about McDonald's workers need $15 an hour. McDonald's is gonna go, this is gonna be robots. There's not even gonna be humans in this joint. It's gonna look like an episode of the Jetsons like 5 years. So I think that independence, more rural and suburban living and homeschooling and getting living within your means and those family structures, that's the way that we save ourselves. Government has always used the black community as the test market. Whatever works for control, to your point, we roll that out to the rest of the nation. And I think that white folks, at least the white folks in my circle, they recognize, like, man, our fates are intertwined at this point. If y'all cooked first, that just means we on the back burner.
Well,
I
yeah, I
know
always
white
say
folks this.
black people are the prototypes for communism.
Right. Right.
We're the prototypes for it.
So it's like, I think that we could utilize that. Like, I know that that's what we've done with BGM. Overwhelmingly, a lot of white folks. Again, if anybody getting value from the conversation tonight, please donate towards the work. It's the pinned post in the chat. I know that there's a lot of white folks that's like, listen, bro, I didn't know how to tell your community that they need to get strapped and they need to be safe and responsible gun owners. I'm so glad that you're doing it. And here's some money to support you. Keep doing it. Because I also know, and I'm telling you, these are legitimate conversations that I had with my white followers. And I'll meet them at events and they come out to the classes and they like, listen, bro, certain people in your community ain't going to hear it. They're not going to hear it from me because the propaganda too strong. They don't think that I'm going to show up and be like, yo, I'm here to help you with these guns. They're going to be like, oh, you trying to set me up. You the feds, you this, that, and third. So they'll rather get behind me. And I like that. That's a real ally. That's like, the propaganda too strong. It's for example, when I go place a bid or place an offer, excuse me, on this house that I'm eyeing, right? I'm going to get my white homies to go first. That's what's happening. I'm going to get them to, we're going to get the paperwork. We're going to have the LLC, all of that stuff tight. And we're going to send them to make the offer first. No different than a year or so ago, I heard of a couple that were trying to sell their house. They happen to be black. And the appraisal that they got, they was like, there's no way that our house is worth this. They got their white couple friend, married couple, to pretend to another appraiser to pretend with the house that they were the owner. And it came up like $150,000, $200,000 on the appraisal. My point in saying this is this. We are dealing with the low IQ, low vibration of certain people across all ethnicities or races. We are. But I think that the people that do want to escape from that can, and I think that we do have allies that are not allies like saying, you're a victim, you can't do it, so here's welfare. Nah, I think some of the people that's like, yo, we're going to put the elbow grease in together because our fates are intertwined as Americans. We're going to work out of this, and that's what needs to happen. I think a lot of times it starts in the Second Amendment community because the Second Amendment community, more than anything, knows that government will be extremely violent and you need to at least have the means to defend yourself. Those are the things that give me hope for the black community because I'm not at the point where I'm Morgan Freeman yet in the movie Seven.
We agree, right? I agree with everything you just said. But my end result is, I don't have an ounce of self-hate, but I just see what this is. I think the smart black folks who operate the way that you're describing right now with their allies and all this, I think we're better off embracing the fact that we're Americans. Yeah. And just leaving it at that than trying to grift off into this group that is riddled with trouble. And you know what I mean? Like,
I see what you mean. I see what you mean in the sense of like, if you are not, you happen to be melanated and you American, but if you want some like nothing really more anti than pro-productive, right? If you that person that's yelling, it's like, bro, we trying to build this homestead over here. You want to help? And they like, well, the system, and it's like, all right, bro, you got it. Never mind. You stay over there, and I'm gonna be over here. To that extent, I do think, but what the slight pushback that I will give you is, I contend that there's more of those intelligent black folks. I think the rabble rousers and or the victims, I think they're louder and certain elements give them microphones, but I do not think that they're in the majority. So what I mean by that is, I'll use somebody for example. I think my son is one of those people that just be saying shit, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a my son general guy.
Right. Me neither. And you know, we've went back and forth, and I'm like, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. And if I say, yo, let's all put together some money and let's all figure out a way that everyone has an equal ownership of this land, and only the people that want to work here and build something from it, homes and or garden and or shooting range and or factory that we manufacture whatever or whatever. If we get a bunch of people to say we want to kind of do that, and would you like to help for that? Those people, like my son, would say, that's never going to happen and blah, 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 or whatever. They would rather complain about it than actually build the thing. Our elders and ancestors was building shit. So
Yeah.
my argument is just like, I'm agreeing with you that we do definitely need to leave the people that are like, okay, cool. You just want to stay here and you think that fighting the power is yelling at the power structure. I don't think that's fighting the power. I think fighting power is becoming powerful. I think that independence, ownership, land, resources, guns, and political connections and networking and ownership is power. You create your own system that's in alignment with the cultural values that you want. I think there's more Black Americans that fit that. They may be quiet because they don't see necessarily to do it, but I think there's more Black Americans like that than the Mysons and the Tamika Mallories of the world. And again, I'm not saying this as a rude to them. They have their lane. That's the lane that they chose. I 1000% disagree with that lane because I don't think that that lane is productive at all. We didn't make Get Black Guns Matter in the Bruin decision by whining about the racist practice of gun control. We just told people that gun control was racist, and we said this is the reason why you shouldn't be in support of it, but here is what you should be in support of. And I think that takes a little bit more nuance, but at the same time, more Black folks would land there than the My Sons and the Tamika Mallories, in my opinion.
I mean, I hear you. I mean, it's just I'm in DC. You know, DC's black as hell. DC, Maryland, and the parts of Virginia around. Like, I lie to you not. My whole entire family are well-to-do Black folks. As a matter of fact, I am the only person in my immediate family and my group of cousins in my generation that does not have a college degree.
Okay.
Now I'm doing rather well for myself. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is like every Negro around me and in my family is doing well.
Yeah.
But they still believe that they are victims of something. And I'm like, you niggas live better than most white people in America.
Right.
But you feel as though you're the ultimate victim and these people in the sticks are impressing you. And I'm like, it's all in your fucking mind, bro.
Right.
It's all in your mind.
They're trapped in what's called a panopticon, a mental panopticon. A panopticon is like a prison concept that all of the inmates are walking around, and it's a camera system that they're surveilled everywhere, and they're loose. They're not free though. They're your family members, those that fit that description, are walking around in a mental panopticon. That's like the chick and the couple. They was at it might have been the BET Awards. No, it was whatever the most recent Black award show was, right? And they were saying how we can go to any country. Because the interviewer asked them like, what would you say to people that are finding themselves in a struggle and under this administration? And she was like, guys, we can leave, we can go to any country. And all I could think to myself was, you are at a place where you're going to be rewarded and accepting awards, or at least nominated for an award for like playing make believe. And you do pretty good for yourself, and you have the resources to go
somewhere else
to country hop if you want to. And you're in this moment saying you're in the country where you have generated the resources to do that. And you're saying we can go anywhere for this imaginary oppression. Now, again, I want everybody to be clear. There are certain systemic issues that I'm like, that's some bullshit. They might have repackaged it, but it's some bullshit. Redlining, lack of school choice, hell, licenses to carry. Like, there are certain things that were designed specifically at a certain point to make sure that you didn't have certain things. Shit, marriage licenses was that, right? However, the concept of marriage, however, gun ownership, however, having the resources to buy the home in any space that you want to be at right now, those things are not impediments to your life. And I think that, to your point, that psychological barrier that some of your family members and other, our extended family as Black folk, maybe when we've created a different space and whatever, we can walk them through a like damn near a reverse engineering mental camp, right? But like, I don't know the answer for that. I don't know.
You know what? Because there's no the answer is we gotta move on.
Separation.
I mean, think about it, bro. These people think that they're so oppressed in America, and okay, yeah, America's not perfect, right? Yeah. But you have people who would give their right arm.
Yeah.
There is no Black country, like there's no majority Black country,
yeah, that
I would ever want to live in.
Yeah.
Besides maybe Bermuda. Bermuda is fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
They won't even accept you. If you don't have $2 million, you cannot become a.
You're not getting in.
You can't. You just can't. Right. So there's that. Right. I don't care if you go to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, wherever you go. Right. They don't have the Constitution privileges that you have in America.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, they treat niggas worse there than they get treated here. So it's
so I'll say this. I remember the first time I went to Dakar in Senegal, right? I was much younger. And I had this thought process that Africans on a continent, and I say the continent because the general public just says Africa, but it's a gang of countries.
It's 100 countries?
Right. Right. So and so I had that perception that they hated us. I was there for a while and I was quiet for the first little bit, and these people were super nice. And I was like, yo, bro, I gotta be honest with y'all, man. I thought y'all on the continent didn't rock with us in America. And they laughed, and I was like, what's up? And they was like, yo, we thought that y'all over there didn't rock with us. And at that moment, I think I was 19 or 20. I remember thinking like, there's somebody in the middle telling both of us this side of this thing on both sides of the, the ocean. But I do agree with the fact that the propaganda does impact some people, and they're like, oh, you think you better than us because you American. We don't blah, blah, blah. Or they see you as American. Or they come to America and I align with the propaganda of the dominant society and says, oh, if we want to be right, we got to treat the Blacks the worst, right?
Well, I'm not even saying that. Right? I'm saying I don't even think they really care that much about that. What I'm saying is, in Nigeria, as a Black person, whether you're from America or not, right? Or not just Nigeria, in a lot of these African countries, the large majority of people are treated like shit by other Black people.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're not from this family. You're not from this tribe. You don't have this amount of money. You don't have. The only reason why we'll get an ounce of respect over there is because we're from America and we got a little bit of money. But what I'm saying is, the average broke ass nigga from America would get treated like shit in Africa, even worse than what there's no public housing in these places.
Right.
You build your fucking shack and you piss in the pot.
Right. Like, deal what you're dealing with.
What I'm saying is, like, I think we got to, until we get the mindset that you actually have to build, you actually have to work. It takes family, it takes community. That's how you prosper. Then we're not going to get anywhere. But like, everything that we stand for is against our own best interest.
I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying that those people need to see that. Like, you're not going to go over there and be like, it's the motherland, I'm here. As it's like any other hood. bro, we don't know you. It's no like, it's like the whole like white Illuminati card. As soon as you're Jewish, you get like the Illuminati weekly meeting code and like an 800 credit score. Like that's not how that shit go.
You still got to hold your weight as a Jewish person.
Right,
You still
right.
have to go to school and be the best to,
Right.
you know what I
And
mean? You
so
don't just, I know
this mentality that like I'm gonna go over to Africa and they're just gonna be like, "Welcome home, brother." Like
here
it's
we
just
are,
not
all
real.
kings and queens.
Right.
Here's your
It's like, bro, what can you do and how can we use you? If you're not used, you're useless. And that's the reality across any country across the planet. I do think that more people, Black Americans, should recognize that, yo, your dad, your granddad, your great granddad were born here. Take advantage of and max out on the opportunities and resources that you have here. I think I'm just not a fan of nobody running me out of nowhere.
yeah,
Like
I'm the
when
same.
I was saying the Second Amendment thing, I'm like, what you mean they ain't make it for me? I was born here. What you talking about? Well, what about your great 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 bro? We ain't talking about that shit. I'm talking about right now. Me, I know exactly where I was born. I know what date, what time. I know my parents. I know my grandparents. I know my great grandparents. I know that my grandmom's story in Albany, Georgia, where King Randall has a school. I thought that was a dope connection. I know
That's
bop, bop,
King
bop,
Randall.
bop, bop. All of those different things. I don't need to go back 50 generations. I go, this is mine. And then when I start doing a little bit more research and go, oh, so there was already a gang of black people in these lands called Turtle Island in the first place. All right, well, that even further confirms this my shit. And I just want people to, if you take that ownership mentality, right? Take that I own where I am mentality. Now, if you have an ownership mentality, you go, I have to increase my property value. I have to increase where I'm at. I got to make this be a thing. That is the mentality that gets us, and because that will be a virus too. That can go viral. When you get, I'm telling you, when I build what I'm building, that's another reason why I'm trapped in an RV. When I finish building what I'm building, and people go, oh, okay, all right. And then we start replicating that and showing people, yo, bro, you ain't got to go to Ghana. Go have a great time in Ghana. I had a great time in Senegal. I tried to learn Wolof. It was very bad. It was a difficult language, all of that. Listen, I can go over there when I want to. I kick it. The world is my home.
That's a fact.
America is just happened to be my throne. That's where I live. If I don't want to be over there, listen, y'all not going to jollof rice me to death. I don't want jollof rice with every meal. I just don't, guys. Sorry. I have roots here. They happen to be from the South. I can connect there and we can build things that we can start to have that sense of ownership. And that sense of ownership also changes. When a person knows, hey, this is the only $18 I got left, bro. I got to save this $18, champ. I can't really rock with two, as opposed to, oh, this somebody else's money. I could just spend it. You have a different sense of decorum. And this is why we have to lean our the people and by our actions and deeds and individual choices. If y'all choose to follow, then y'all do. But I'm just gonna show y'all that this is a better way. When they start to see that, I believe, because it's really just a case study in what I did. I used Black Guns Matter as the prototype to make an archetype. Black Guns Matter was, can I convince swaths of Black Americans to buy guns and be safe and responsible firearms owners and get involved in the Second Amendment fight? Not every, but a lot of people told me, yo, they're not gonna buy guns. They
I
don't, they
mean, you
don't,
can
they
just
shoot.
see off the break. As soon as I heard your whole spiel,
Right.
I heard it on a different person's podcast years ago. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, this nigga, this shit makes sense.
Right.
Let me get rid of this and go get some paperwork.
You see what I'm saying? And then when I did that, I was like, okay, they're receptive. All you got to be able to do, but here's to your point though. I have an unfair advantage. One, I already escaped the matrix, and two, I communicate very well and make it very simple. So that might be one of the key components that's missing, because I think a lot of people, not just black folks, Americans in general, feel this way. They feel what I'm saying. They just may not know how to verbalize it the same way. So I have somewhat of an unfair advantage. And so in having that unfair advantage, I just choose to show people like, yo, bro, you could do this. You could do this. And here's why you should do this. And this is what we already did. So with doing that with BGM, I just kind of was like, huh, maybe it's going to be difficult, but we could build community or show people that the importance of community is paramount, but have them start with their health, have them start with their family, have them start with their, spending time. That's why we made the Solutionary 9. 9 things that the people can do every day, if they choose to get better at family life, to get better at shooting, to get better at faith, to get better at health and fitness, to get better at being a statesman and being involved, at least nominally and locally, on the political scene of things. 9 things that we do every single day to self-improve, and then you bring more people on. We cultivated that as the archetype of what we learned from years in doing Black Guns Matter. When we started just showing people this, when I started showing workout routines, and people was like, damn, Maj, you actually really kind of like do that gym shit. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I noticed that you have a firearm and you're out of shape, and your gun, what if it's not a lethal situation? Can you run away? Can you fireman carry somebody?
Can you fight a nigga? Yeah.
Can you fight? These are the things that culminated into this new wave of things. And I'm just so proud to, first, I want to say thank you, because I don't know if the viewers noticed, y'all original podcast was the first one in person that I actually did when I started BGM.
Okay.
In DC. That was when y'all was down there. It was the drinks and everything in front of the table and all of that. You know what I mean? And I just knew that there would be a way to connect people. And since then, obviously, I've been around the country more times than I can count.
You know what's crazy? Somebody, when I went to the joint you did in Miami a few years ago.
Yeah.
One of the guys that was working for you was like, man, he knew my name and shit. I'm like, how does this nigga know, man? I'm a nobody, right? He's like, yo, man, I found Maj on your podcast. I'm like, damn, so you was the one nigga in the but anyway, I was like, damn. So you was the one nigga on the jump that night. All right, cool. But nah, he was like, I don't know, I can't remember his name, light-skinned dude, but he was working for you at the Miami joint. But he was
you talking about Dev.
I don't know his name, but
yeah, that's my guy Dev, and that's what I'm saying. Dev is now, he started a thing called Kids to Kings, mentoring young people, right, getting them out of the silliness. He was down over there in VA. Now he's in Colorado working on being an instructor, firearms instructor. This dude's like the Don Firearms in Boston, came to our very first BGM class. It was a snowstorm. It was in Boston. He is a solid firearms instructor helping the people of Boston at this point. My point in saying this is, that's why I say there's more people that will receive what we're saying, but they're bombarded by so much of the foolishness that media propaganda puts out and turns up the volume on that to kind of drown out the folks like us that's doing these other things. And it's amazing when you just put that work in and you see how many people follow. I'm telling you, I haven't said this yet. The next move, after, I'm gonna bring back the Solutionary Summit, but I'm gonna bring it back on my land, my 40 acres. That's my location. That's this, that, and the third, right? But on top of that, after we get the Solutionary Center, and after we start doing a few more things, the new phase is we're gonna help people buy acres at a time and create self-sustaining communities for individual families all across America. That's how, and then when those black folks or white folks or Spanish, whoever, when they start doing that and seeing that, they're gonna see that this is the way. We got tricked out of the land in the South. We got tricked, and I know why. I get it. The lily white conservative movement was a thing, scaring the hell out of black people, making them not be Republicans, because that was historic. Those are historic facts. we started going up to the north and the northeast to get more jobs and things of that nature. And I'm not mad at it. However, I understand now the play that was ran on us. And so, in essence, we just understand it. It was just a business move, the people that did it. And we just make a business move in return or in reverse. And so, to move forward, I think that based on this prototype of BGM and seeing the people and seeing the connections and seeing how many people have blossomed out of that, I now know that whatever we do, the solutionary center, to this, to that, the people will follow and start to build and become independent, productive members of society when they see that as the example. It's like real hustlers was doing it to make the money. They wasn't doing it to do the violence. And if you ask a real hustler that has experienced any of the losses that come with the game, not even outside of money losses, you ask them, yo, if you had a chance to not do this, would you not do it? Unequivocally, they're like, absolutely, I would not. I did it as a back against the wall thing. And I think a lot of people with that victim mentality, once you show them a victor mentality, they go in a proper direction. And I'm just glad and honored to serve and possibly be able to do that.
For sure.
Hey, what was I gonna say? I gotta tap out because I gotta get ready. Bro, I generally appreciate you for having me on and being, like I said, one of my very first in-person podcasts like ever. And I've seen you can be consistent. I've seen you rumble. Man, I done seen Tulum. I done seen this and that. And so I just want to give you your respect and champion what you've done and being that voice in that space and being firm in your position for so long, man, because very few of us can do it. So I just want to say thank you and give you those, that salute for doing that too, bro.
For sure. Definitely appreciate that, man. And same to you, man. You doing your thing. You've always done it. Like I said, I remember, like, I don't even, what was it, 2016?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? From that to, like, nigga throwing conferences in Miami, like, you're doing your thing, man. And we definitely giving you flowers for that, man.
Thank you, my brother.
I gotta get up there to Philly, man. I'm about to start this new thing, right? Where I wanna interview, like, in a real, like, interview setting as opposed to like this. I want to start interviewing, people with voices such as yourself, just to get the story. And, like, for instance, I'm going up to New York in a few weeks to go interview, Dion Powell, from Blexit. I'm going to interview him. I want to interview you. I'm actually about to holler at Kimberly Klasick. So I'm trying to get the interview game going too. So,
yo, anybody that you know that you like, yo, that I might, you think that I might know, just let me know, because I'll plug you with them too. Because there's a lot of people. You should interview Adrian Norman. You should interview Shamika Michelle.
I love Shamika Michelle.
You in DC, you should interview Curtis Schoon. Who else?
I want to interview Chad. I want to interview Chad O. Jackson too. He's an interesting guy.
I'll rock with him.
Yeah. I watch his podcast on Sundays too. It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah. He has a very metered approach, and I love it. It's objective. It's up the middle.
He's straight down the line though. Like, and I respect that. Like, he's like, well, I don't want to get into it because you got to go, but
right.
Yeah. So I'll hit you offline, man, and
absolutely,
I will definitely appreciate that for sure.
Listen, everybody that's watching live, GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. Support if you can, guys. We appreciate the work. We need 380 more donors at the $100 level. If you can't give 100, give what you can. I appreciate y'all.
Salute. All right, catch you on the next one, bro.
Peace.
All right, so I think that's going to be it for today. Definitely had a great episode. We talked a little bit about the rift in the Republican Party. I wanted to kind of get into the whole Andrew Tate and DeSantis situation, but it's getting kind of late. So maybe I'll come back Sunday and we can get that done. But as we always say, especially for those of you guys watching on the playback, whether you agree, you disagree, or you're indifferent, do me a favor, leave a comment in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell, and select all. For myself and the rest of the crew here at Trippin' Ain't Easy TV and the homie Marsh Teray, peace out. Catch you on the next one.